I wrong. They went to Denver, and it was a close game, as we all know how that story ended up. But what must happen is this is a game where they've got to go on the road and play great football. And this is their first true road game, and the fact that Denver was a neutral site game, Dallas was a neutral site game. So, they're taking on a Missouri team that's giving up 38 points per game. The worst run defense in all of the country. Run on them now. And with that, I run over to Olin Buchanan. It's the Go Hour. Good morning to you, my Heisman Trophy voter friend.
Good morning.
So, as I was kind of doing in the lead, they've got to make that game the start of something huge, as opposed to 1 week they're good, 1 week they're not so good. They've got to really build on that victory.
Yeah, and we've seen it. Look at Stanford. They got the big win this year. They beat Oregon.
Yep.
Undefeated, ranked high, beating Ohio State, and they follow up by losing to Arizona State. So any momentum they had, is gone. So you get a big win. It can do, two things. It can be that one-hit wonder that you don't want to be, or it can launch you on to better things. You get a jolt of confidence. You get the understanding of what it takes, and you put it all together. And I kind of think that's what's going to happen, but we won't know until they play. They're always. I've never had someone tell me yet in all my years of doing this that after a big win, now we're just going to take it easy.
No, and Jimbo alluded to that several times yesterday, that they've got to have that same kind of intensity, the same kind of focus that they had last week. Everything that they did, apply it again. But I'm trying to figure out, because, after the Colorado game, I thought to myself, well, Zach figured it out in the fourth quarter. This is him now. He's figured it out. And obviously he hadn't. But maybe it's the offensive line that's figured it out. And Zach maybe has always had some of this in him. He just is not as good with the flying darts coming at him.
Well, I have no question that the offensive line has gotten better, and they seem to have figured some things out. But Zach has too, or apparently has, because there were times he wasn't always under duress when he made some of those bad decisions and poor passes. Now, maybe he had gotten a little bit shell-shocked, but I still think, in my opinion, that Zach was just, I don't want to say panic, but just put in that situation, he needed to settle down. Maybe he was, trying to do things too fast. Maybe the game was moving too fast for him. I don't know. But I think that he just wasn't ready. And I think the amount of time that he keeps putting into it, more practice, I thought that he would play his best game of the year. Now, I didn't know he was going to play that well.
Right.
But I absolutely thought he'd play his best game.
So let me ask you this. I'm looking at these numbers. By the way, the time of possession was not in the favor of A&M. The second half especially went all Alabama. Alabama's time of possession 33-38 to A&M's 26-13. So still much lower than the Aggies were doing last year. Running the ball is still an issue. Even though I believe that Spiller and A-Chain had nice games, 17 carries for 46 yards for Spiller. He had that nice touchdown run. And you had 34 yards for A-Chain on 7 carries. So Spiller averaging about 2.7 yards a carry, and A-Chain had almost 5 yards a carry. I want to see that number triple against Missouri, the worst run defense in all of college football.
And I think it might. I say that now. 1 year, I guess it would have been Jimbo's first year. Travion was having a great year. As we know, he led the SEC in rushing and rushed for a mile that year. Exactly. But they went to play South Carolina, which had one of the worst run defenses in the country. And he had a, okay game. Wasn't
right.
Spectacular. But I think when I've seen a few highlights involving Missouri, they look kind of slow in the secondary. So if you can get your running backs into the second line of the defense, I think there's going to be a lot of chances for some really big plays.
I didn't see what Kentucky did against them in the second week of the season. And at that time, Kentucky was not the Kentucky we see now. They weren't ranked yet. But Christian Rodriguez, I'm sure, had a big game. But offensively, Missouri's pretty good if you look at their numbers.
They've got a quarterback that throws it around. They have a running back. Why am I not thinking of his name right now? Tyler Batty. Yeah. And he's rushed for.
He's second, I believe, in the SEC.
But look at it closer.
Okay.
He's had over 200 yards against North Texas and Central Michigan, and he's got 102 yards on 35 carries in 2 SEC games. So I don't quite know what you've got with Tyler Batty. He's not. I'm not saying he's not good, but I don't know. How productive he's going to be. And that probably has nothing to do with him. That would tell me it probably has more to do with his offensive line.
Sure.
When they can move guys against North Texas and Central Michigan, he can light it up. But it sounds like he might have trouble getting past the first line when they're playing, guys their own size.
What do you think Jimbo's going to do with the offensive line? With Jameer Johnson probably eligible to come back now. At least he said so yesterday. Do they go with what worked against Bama? Do they go back to I don't know, because it worked.
I think you stick with what you had against Alabama.
Yeah.
When you get something, when I'm in that casino playing roulette and that ball keeps landing on black, I just keep playing black till it doesn't work, right? So, no, I thought, like we said, Blake Traynor, you never heard from him, and that's a good thing for an offensive lineman.
It's amazing the amount of people that I heard from, people who have played in the league, that were destroying Traynor during the New Mexico game.
Right.
And how exactly what you said, how quiet it got about Traynor, which is a great thing for a lineman, unless you're doing pancakes. You only hear about a lineman when something bad happens or they pancake somebody. And nothing, But I do want to see them run the ball better. I do. 94 yards, again.
Well, I think you will. I think the only team that had run the ball with any success against Alabama was Florida, 244. You know who's the second best offensive production? Who had the second best running production against Alabama all year?
Must be A&M.
Texas A&M.
Right.
So, sometimes you gotta balance that, yeah. Right?
And they put up numbers on them. They absolutely put up the numbers on them without a doubt. Hey, by the way, if you want to be a part of the discussion, you can. 979-693-1150 is the AMB text line. You can also call the BCSI hotline if you want to, 979-693-1150. We'll continue this dialogue. I also want to get into Paul Feinbaum's show yesterday that I know that you DVR'd, and I listened to yesterday when I was at the park watching my daughters practice soccer. I always like to listen to something going on in college football. I listened to Feinbaum, and I was kind of blown away with how their fans sound very similar to our fans a couple weeks ago, and the kind of stuff I was hearing, like about Saban, and it was just funny. So we'll certainly get into that. But right now let me tell you the question of the day. It's a question we've actually had this year already. What has surprised you most through 6 games this season? And the reason I asked that is because I feel like there's been like 3 seasons in this season. You have like the preseason expectations, like you can't wait to see what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Then you have the injury to Haynes, which kind of changed the trajectory of the season. You can't block well, you can't pass well, your defense gets confused in the first half against Arkansas, looks bad against Mississippi State. And then the following season, which is the Alabama game, and we'll see how that goes moving forward, how everything just seemed to click in the right way. So that's been the thing that's been most surprising to me, the multi levels of this season so far. But we'd love to hear from you. And with that, we go to the News and Social Center. Tori Esprevo.
Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Hi. Let's get into some headlines. We have Texas A&M Jimbo Fisher was named the Dodd Trophy Coach of the Week after leading the Aggies 41-38 victory over number 1 Alabama at Kyle Field, and the officials from the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year Foundation and Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl announced this yesterday. And then 3 of our Aggies earned the Southeastern Conference Player of the Week honors. The league office announced yesterday that Zach Calzada was named SEC Offensive Player of the Week. Tyree Johnson brought home SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week and Devon A. Chain garnered Special Teams Player of the Week. And then also lastly, I have Texas A&M was fined $100,000 by the Southeastern Conference for violating the policy of fans entering the field. And this was announced yesterday on ESPN.com, which frankly, I think this is a little bit of a pocket change for A&M. So I think it was completely worth it. Crazy win by Alabama. Yeah.
Of course it was worth it. I saw Kellen Mond tweet. It's basically $1 a person that went to the game. 106,000 were there, a little bit less than $1 a person. We could pay that fine right now.
A&M finds that in the couch.
Yeah. I wish that was my couch, to be honest with you. All right, so when we come back, I do want to get into the Feinbaum show because there was some Jimbo talk on there that caught my attention. And I will say this. I don't believe it, but I see what they did there. That's my tease for it.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. Do you think the listeners know what I'm talking about?
I really don't know what you're talking about.
I think we talked about it pre-show.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see where you're going there. And I see where they're going there.
Yeah, I see where they're going too. I don't necessarily agree, but we'll talk about that. Right now, I want to talk about Randy. Yeah, Randy Macho Man Reyes out there at the Association of Former Students. He told you guys this the other day. He's going to be here, I think, tomorrow. He told me that Aggies were going to beat Alabama. We had lunch last week. He's like, they're going to win. The way I remember it, it's like the scene in the movie Heat when Al Pacino and Val Kilmer meet up at the diner, and it's not Val Kilmer, Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, excuse me, but Val Kilmer's in the movie as well. And they make that eye contact, and you know something's up. Randy knew. He's the Al Pacino of the Association of Former Students. Porter Garner is more the Robert De Niro. So, if that means anything to you. But they've been around for a long, long time, serving the Aggie Network for over 140 years. They've empowered the association to be here, there, and everywhere. And they continue to give back and back and back. If it's to the support of the MSC, if it's for academic scholarships, and you're a part of that. Your dollars go such a long, long way. I want to encourage you to give back to the association. It's so rewarding for about $100 a year, $9 a month. You're going to get that decal, the plaque, the Texas Aggie magazine, plus you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping other Aggies. To learn more about the impact of the association, get involved or make a gift, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
Find out first, get scores, updates, and more. Follow the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM on Twitter. Zone 1150.
VeraBank is open and we are excited to serve you in College Station. Hi, this is Erica Archer, Treasury Management Officer at VeraBank, and I specialize in helping businesses run their day-to-day operations more efficiently, saving you valuable time. Our team's job is to make yours easier. So give us a call or come by and see us off of Highway 6. At VeraBank, you have a team of genuine bankers on your side, and you can bank on it.
Visit verabank.com today. That's VERA bank.com. VeraBank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
At United Roofing and Sheet Metal, we've got you covered inside and out.
Need help with your high wind or hail damage claims? Call Larry Winkler and the fine folks at United. United Roofing is your local, professional, family-owned business with over 40 years of service to the Brazos Valley. United is your insurance claims specialist, providing the most comprehensive full-system labor and material warranty in the roofing industry. Call United today at 268-ROOF.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Howdy's Pizza, BCS Tire Pros, Cotton and Oak Home and Style, Cilantro Mexican Grill, and more. Visit AggieLandBigDeals.com to save big. AggieLandBigDeals.com.
Bryan Broadcasting is your home for high school football. Bryan High, A&M Consolidated, Rudder, and College Station High play on the Bryan Broadcasting family of stations. No matter where you are, hear every play, every game, all season long. Thanks to Amarillo National Bank, Glenn College, BCS Toyota, and Ed Phillips Plumbing. To find out when and where to hear your favorite team, go to brazosfootball.com.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
I'm a firm believer that Matt Nagy is not a master plotter. There is a legitimate concern that, for me, they promised Andy Dalton QB1 throughout the summer. Like, that wouldn't give me supreme confidence in my coach. hearing him go back and forth, wavering like that, it feels like somebody from the top down said, we're not playing around with this anymore. You're going to start Justin Fields moving forward. Let's start in that direction.
See, I don't think he said anything different. He just used different words and set it up different. But it came out the same meaning to me. Because the first thing that he said was they're going to evaluate Andy Dalton. They're going to see where he's at. And in the end, and then he comes back the next day and he says, hey, they looked at everything with Justin Fields. He's done a tremendous job. That's the same thing. They're evaluating the situation. So I don't really see what he did that was any different.
Listen in to Key, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor from 5 to 8 on the Zone.
It is TexAgs Radio. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We are presented by David Garner's Jewelers. We're going to talk a little bit about the Paul Feinbaum Show. Not the biggest man in the world. I met him. I think you were around, right? Yeah, very nice. Not the most physically imposing human being. Very good at what he does. I think he comes across as a Alabama homer, but I know a lot of people. I was listening to Roman Harper with him last week, who said that Feinbaum used to crush him when he was there playing at Alabama. So, but in my perspective, he seems to be a homer. Yesterday, the callers on that show, I guess there's one A&M caller that calls all the time, Matt Santonio. Yeah. Does he listen to this show? Do we know?
I have no idea.
Yeah. He should. It's a really good show. In fact, I really like the host and his partner, radio partner. But But what I did want to say is that I was shocked at how people were jumping off the Nick Saban train. The defensive coordinator here has been a problem for years. They need to fix it. Bill O'Brien is the worst, but all those calls go through Nick Saban. The Bill O'Brien stuff might be true.
Yeah.
He may have cost them that game.
Might have.
I'm glad he did.
I am too.
But I was just shocked at how quickly people forgot about how amazing Nick Saban has been there.
Well, yeah, you get spoiled, and you can't accept losses. It's like a kid that gets everything they want, and then when they're teenagers and you tell them, oh, no, you can't go to this event because I don't think it's a good situation. They lose their minds,
Right.
And that's kind of like the Alabama fans. They never give they rarely give the team that beats them on those rare occasions any credit. It's all because, Alabama was looking ahead, or Alabama, this, or Alabama played a tough game last week, or Alabama didn't care.
Alabama just got beat this weekend. It was nothing to do with them having a poor day. In fact, I'd say they had a pretty good day, and they were just out-schemed, out-physicaled.
Right. And so does A&M have better coaches beyond the head coach? Maybe. I know that if I had my choice between Golding and Elko, I'd take Elko. And I know Jimbo's the offense coordinator. We understand.
Would take him or Bill O'Brien?
But if
taking Jimbo,
heck yeah. So and everybody in the city of Houston would tell you that. I
hope he can be their GM too. That'd be great.
That would be. It'd be like
you know what hit me yesterday though? Bryce Young's gonna be around a while. That's what hit me. Like I was just thinking to myself, he's a young player, and he's this good.
He probably has one more year.
Yeah.
One more year. You got to face him one more time, and then he'll probably go into the NFL.
I kind of liked the Mac Jones era, which was short, but it was long but short.
It was really basically 1 year, right? Yeah. Because the year before he was just a backup,
and he came in a little bit, right?
Yeah, and man, was he good last year though? So yeah, I just think that Alabama fans are just they don't handle defeat well. I would think that at this point that you never criticize Nick Saban, because if you're criticizing his coaches, you're criticizing him.
He's got the headsets on too, right?
Right.
He knows what Bill's calling. Now, I think he did throw some shade yesterday. I saw that I forgot how he phrased it, but about those plays in the red zone.
maybe we should have looked into running it a little more, and but didn't on the play before the couple plays before Damani Richardson had the interception in the end zone, I think they ran a couple times there and got stuffed.
And they got stuffed.
And that might be what, the guy was thinking. Hey, we got down here once and we couldn't run on them when we had to.
What I saw was after the stretch where Alabama regained control of that game, I saw an A&M team that wasn't tired, that out-physicaled a tired Alabama defense and offense. An A&M team that came and they seized the moment from Alabama. Alabama still put up some really big numbers. They still, this had nothing to do with Alabama having an off day, in my opinion. That is a discredit to what Elko and Jimbo did that day. A&M had the better game plan, had the players out physical, typically what Alabama does. And Alabama seized control of that game for a little bit. And that's when A&M responded.
Yeah. Alabama, they dominated the third quarter. Of course, I think I heard somewhere it was like 30 offensive plays to 10 for A&M.
Right.
Now, part of that was Devon Achane returned a kickoff for a touchdown, so you don't get an offensive play.
I'll take that play all day.
We'll take it all day. But you knew that Alabama, with all that talent, is going and all that history, and the fact that they're really good, they were number one in the country, that they weren't going to go away quietly.
No.
What I think was, there were so many things impressive about that win for A&M, but one of the most impressive is, again, that after Alabama took the lead, you went right down and scored. And that's when you went, hey, not this could happen. This is probably going to happen.
Yeah, and the only thing that hit me at that point that I was worried about was the fact that Zach got hurt, right? I'm like, man, this opportunity is right here. We may go into overtime. We may get another chance with the ball, and freaking Zach is in the medical tent.
And then he comes out.
Freaking Willis Reed, man.
I think A&M, a big part of A&M winning this game was about last October, whenever it was, in the second half of that loss, when they played so much better and they realized, we could have done more. And where I'm getting at is, I don't think this A&M team went in behind 10 points like so many teams do, because they're either afraid of Alabama or they're too pumped up. I think this was an A&M team that went in and said, yeah, I know we've stunk it up the last couple of weeks, but we've played these guys before, and we've played them head up, and this team isn't nearly as good as last year's team was, and we can do this. There was no intimidation.
And that Alabama team is the reason A&M was not invited to the college football playoffs. That Alabama team's victory over an A&M team that I thought the game felt closer than the score is the reason A&M was left out. If they play that game differently, if it's closer, that is, I'm sure a lot of those veteran players were thinking about how that ended.
Well, I'm sure Aniyah Smith, for one, because, again, if he catches that ball just before the half, that's a whole completely different game, because it's probably 28-21 at halftime instead of 35-14 when we all knew it was over. But I would say Aniyah redeemed himself quite well.
Biggest catch of the game?
Yeah,
right?
Well, 2 touchdown catches, and including,
the game-tying touchdown.
I don't know what the biggest one was, but that was certainly up there. Isaiah Spiller had that one backing up on the drive for the field goal.
Yeah.
That was pretty big, but there was a lot of big catches.
Well,
that was one.
Probably the throw of the day, though, was that one.
The
throw to Aniyah Smith.
Throw. Probably.
That was incredible.
But once again, that's how great Zach was, because we all forget not only the throw, but just the seeing it when he threw the touchdown pass to Jalen Watermeyer.
Oh, that was beautiful as well. Yeah.
The pass was somewhat easy because he was wide open, but that's the play that he doesn't see in the previous games, right?
Right.
When you say, hey, so-and-so was open, he just didn't see him. Well, he saw him and got him the ball.
We got to hit a break here, but I want to pay off the tease, and we'll probably do it after we talk to Charean. But I teased, something that they were alluding to on the Feinbaum show, and it wasn't Paul, it was Pete Thamel. Who does he write for? Is it Yahoo?
Yeah.
Saying that, LSU is probably going to go after Jimbo and this and that. And why wouldn't he go there? Because, that the last 3 head coaches have won a national championship. And he's not saying that it's going to happen, but it makes sense. And kind of hinting that it could happen. But so I was listening to that and I was getting there's no reason to start that story up. And I'm bringing it up on the air, so I guess I'm keeping it going. But I just found it this guy just got the biggest win of the year after a week where people were questioning how good he was, if he was worth that salary. And now all of a sudden they're like, well, LSU can afford $10 million a year. Come on, dude.
See, that's what angers me. National media rips on A&M for hiring Jimbo for $7.5 million, then rips on A&M for giving him a contract extension and a raise, but has no problems. If LSU, because LSU would have to pay him at least, I think the bidding would start at $10 million.
Right. For 10 years?
But the national media sees that's okay. That's what I've always talked about when I say there's this caste system among the national media that some programs, whatever they do, it's cool. When A&M does it, it's a subject of great scorn and ridicule.
It does bug me. Hey, if you want to be a part of the conversation, text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. I see iDoc Mike out there. Appreciate your text coming in. You can call the show as well, 979-693-1150 on the BCSI hotline. That's where we're going to have Charean Williams in the next segment. But right now, I want you to experience the difference at Caprock Health System, patient-centered care. When I say right now, I don't want you to go there now unless it's an emergency situation. But if it is an emergency situation, that's the place you want to go. Locally owned and operated. They are just the best when it comes to making you feel better here in the Brazos Valley. They put the patient first in every decision that they make. That's what they want to do. Their sole purpose is to make you feel better. And they've got everything you can imagine, from the emergency care system, hospital admissions, the laboratory, outpatient testing, radiology, outpatient imaging. They maintain cash prices that rival any competitor here in the BCS. You've got 2 convenient state-of-the-art facilities here for patient healing. You got the Caprock Hospital in Bryan and Caprock 24-hour Emergency Center in College Station. They have 0 wait times for emergency care, so you'll never have to sit in a crowded waiting room. The hospital and 24-hour ER maintain a clean and sterile, safe environment. Go check them out. It is Caprock Health System.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. A free presentation offered to seniors on Medicare open enrollment is this Wednesday. Contact the Mature Will Lifestyle Club for more information. Texas A&M's chapter of Young Americans for Freedom are hosting Senator Ted Cruz at Rudder Theater on Thursday at 7 p.m. The Navasota Theater Alliance invites you to join the interactive experience Lanterns and Legends. Take a nighttime guided tour October 21st, 22nd, or 23rd at Navasota's historic Oakland Cemetery. You're invited to a community Thanksgiving meal in celebration of Brian's 150th anniversary. The buffet meal and musical entertainment on Saturday, November 13th are free, but you must RSVP by going online to 150.briantx.gov. Your home for Houston Texans football is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. You can hear every game, home, road, all season long, right here on Aggieland's only all-sports station. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Howdy, y'all. This is Cullen Gillespie, former 12th man. I've always tried to help my team on and off the field, and now I'd like to help Texas A&M fans like you cut their electricity bills in half. Yep, in half. It takes less than 5 minutes and you'll save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars every year. 90% of Texans overpay for electricity, so don't be one of them. Sign up today at energyogre.com and use code GILLY, G-I-L-L-Y, for a free month of service.
The Bellucci Hour Happy Hour is a must part of any Aggie football season. Join Billy Lucci of TexAgs and Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, every Monday and Thursday at 6 at the Tap. Or listen in right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Bellucci Hour Happy Hour every Monday, Thursday at 6 is brought to you by King Ranch Saddle Shop. Also brought to you in part by B&B Automotive. It's the Bellucci Hour Happy Hour.
Hello, St. Joseph Eagles fans. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football throughout the season on KEDC 88.5 FM. St. Joseph Eagles football is brought to you this season by these local businesses: Fast Signs, Strata Auto Repair, Kelly Burt Dozer, Reedfield Meats and Deli, Burnside Services Inc., and Prosperity Bank. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football on KEDC 88.5 FM. Special thanks to all of our St. Joseph Eagles sponsors.
You can hear every Aggie football game, home, road, national championship, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Game Day on the Zone is brought to you in part by Stephen Gustitis, attorney at law, BCS Allstate agent Jerry Anderson, and Higginbotham Insurance. 30 minutes after every A&M home game, tune in for the Twin Peaks Call-In Show, powered by TexAgs.com.
And we are back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So let's talk about it with Charean Williams here from Pro Football Talk. Aggie great, Hall of Famer. She does it all. She joins us here every Tuesday morning. Good morning to you, Charean.
Well, good morning to you guys.
Thank you
a little brighter week this week, isn't it?
Yes, Charean. And by the way, Charean is on the BCSI hotline. So let's just talk about it from your perspective as you're watching this game just kind of unfold. Give me your emotional roller coaster that you're going through.
Well, it's probably let's just say like all Aggies who weren't in that locker room, because if anyone says they thought before the game that A&M was going to win this game, they're absolutely lying. We all hoped that we all thought that we were going to lose this game, and probably fairly handily. So I went in with really no expectations, and I watched the game as a sports writer would watch the game, right? I mean, you're breaking down everything and what they need to do and what they could do better and how the coaches could better call the game and all that. And there wasn't much to break down in this game, but it was up and down. I started having some second thoughts after the block punt, and suddenly that was answered. You're like, okay. And then Alabama takes the lead, and you're, no way, we're coming back here. And, of course, they go right down the field, and they're like, well, it's time. Alabama's getting the ball back. They're, well, no, we stop them there. So, I think it became obvious with all these good things happening just how well they were playing. And I just kept asking over and over, where has this team been all year? Where has this team been all year? This is the team we expected to see the entire year. If they play like this the entire year, they'd probably be ranked number 2 in the country right now, be on their way to the playoffs, because they played great. They played as one of the best teams in the country on Saturday.
Charean, what do you want to see from Alabama the rest of the year?
We talked last week about the quarterback and what a difference a quarterback makes. This guy is not Jalen Hurts. He's not Baker Mayfield. He's not Kyler Murray. He's not, some of the quarterbacks they have starting in the NFL now, Mac Jones and Tua and all of the quarterbacks that they've had in Alabama, he's not that guy, and I think that much was evident. Now, maybe you can build into that guy, but he's not that guy now, and it just makes such a huge difference on your team when the quarterback just can't get you over that hump. You've got to have a good quarterback. I know Alabama's won some national championships with some guys who we wouldn't consider real great quarterbacks. I get that, but it's a different day and age now, and Saban adjusted and went to the passing game and all that. But from an Aggie standpoint, heck, you want to see them win until they get to the championship game. I think you do. Well, I mean, if they lose, I guess we have a chance to win the conference title. So maybe that's, if they're not going to lose another conference game, then you want them to win out and get to the conference game and lose to Georgia to give you somewhat of a chance if you're able to win out. A lot of things have to happen. I get it. But from an Alabama standpoint, you want to see a quarterback play better if you've got a chance to win another one. But Alabama, to me, this is a weird year, but they don't look as good as Georgia does for sure. And I'm curious how they would match up with the Cincinnati or somebody like that. Cincinnati looks pretty good, but, what kind of schedule they play.
All right, so what does this mean for A&M moving forward? You talked about the potential to win out. Do you think we're going to see more of the A&M team we saw against Alabama? Or are we going to see the A&M team that one week can block and can pass, and 1 week doesn't.
Yeah. Well, assuming that Zach Calzada's knee is okay, everything's held up, and he doesn't have an injury, I think he's turned a corner. I think he's figured out what he needs to do. He just looked like a different quarterback. And I don't know what kind of light went on. Did they tell him, hey, you don't have to look over your shoulder, this job's yours the rest of the season? I don't know how that light switched on, and I didn't expect to see it. But in 1 week, it switched on, and you saw it from the start. This was a different quarterback. And, no matter what else he does ever again, he's a hero at A&M. He's a legend. We'll all remember this. We'll all remember the name Zach Calzada. He never has to do another thing. But I would like to see this team, as you talked about last week, they have a chance to win every single game. They're probably going to be favored, I would think, in every single game going forward. Maybe not Ole Miss, maybe not Auburn, but they'll be close. And so you should win the rest of your games. If you win the rest of the games, then so be it. How it ends up, you're the ones that got yourself the two bad losses, as it turns out. So you've got to live with those now, but move forward and try to win the rest of your games, which are very winnable the rest of the way. But, yeah, you got to see the quarterback just continue to progress and play like he played on Saturday. And hopefully he's okay and injury-wise and can hold up and play these next few games. And, by the way, I saw Gabe saying, hey, we're going to remember this one. We're going to remember this a long time. I hope the team moved on to Missouri by Monday, because you can't let this carry over and have a hangover come Saturday. I know Missouri's not very good, but you better be ready to play.
I had one come Sunday, but Charean, you're a kind of just a pitch and wedge shot away from Louisiana, and you're in your hometown. So I wonder. I would assume you have, because of that, you have at least some interest in LSU. So I wonder what you think of what's going on there, and if you would be, how concerned would you be? Because we just talked about it, about a report that LSU would probably look to try to poach Jimbo Fisher.
I think Jimbo Fisher is very happy at A&M. I think the Alabama victory shows him he can win here. I think he's making a lot of money that I'm not positive that LSU would want to spend, or could they spend? I don't know. Yeah, it's amazing how far LSU has fallen since they won the national title. And you have a coach who's won a national title, but again, it goes back to the quarterback, and it just shows you how having that special quarterback can do great things for a university. It's unfortunate for A&M that we weren't able to win one with Johnny, because I think we were fully capable of doing that. But anyway, they're going to change coaches at the end of the year. I think that much has become evident. I'm going to be shocked if Jimbo Fisher leaves A&M and goes to LSU. I would expect them to look at Joe Brady. I'm going to be surprised if that's not their choice. He's done great with Sam Darnold. He was great with Joe Burrow. He's been a terrific assistant coach and done a lot of great things offensively. They remember him fondly. I think that would make the players happy. I think it would make the alumni happy. I think everyone would be happy with Joe Brady. We'll be shocked if they don't hire Joe Brady, unless Joe Brady doesn't want the job, and I don't know if he does or doesn't.
Charean, before we get into the top Aggies in the NFL, let me ask you this. Let's say that Zach has figured it out, plays great down the stretch. Maybe they win out. Maybe they lose one. What does that mean for his future? What does that mean for Haynes King's future?
Well, isn't that exciting? Now you're back to another quarterback battle, and I think that's going to be fun. And, if they are able to win out, I mean, Haynes King's going to have a hard time beating out, I think, Zach Calzada. But I don't know. It would be a nice problem to have if you could keep them both for next year. I mean, you've seen that sometimes you need two quarterbacks and you need two good quarterbacks. Your quarterback risks injury sometimes, and it happens. And, nothing's to say that they can't play two quarterbacks either. I know you have a starter. I know he's going to play most of the way, but you see it in the NFL now. You've seen what the 49ers were trying to do with Jimmy Garoppolo, And Trey Lance, you see what the Saints have done with Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, and when Drew Brees was there, it was Brees and Hill. So you can do some things with two quarterbacks, and I get it. That's not what the second quarterback wants. I understand that. But it would be a great problem to have both of those quarterbacks and have them stay next year and compete for the job. And whoever wins the job wins the job. But I would expect that Zach Calzada would have the upper hand, having played so well, assuming that they go on and do what we expect them to do the rest of the way.
All right, Charean, let's get into the top three Aggies in the NFL. Who's number 3?
Well, it was a tough week because there really weren't a ton of standouts. But you know what? I'm going to go with Dan Campbell. I don't know how many people saw the press conference after where he started crying. And it just showed you how much he cared. We all know that. Those of us who know him and know him really well, we all know how much he cares. And that team is playing so hard for him. They're just not very talented. But he's going to turn Detroit around, which still has the Bobby Lane curse from more than 50 years ago riding on it. I think he's going to slay that Bobby Lane curse and produce a really good team. They're close to having a win. They should have won that one. There's a couple others they should have won. They came back against the 49ers. They've really played awfully well for the talent level they have. So we'll start with Dan Campbell, give him a little bit of love in Detroit. I think he needs it this week. And then, secondly, I would go with Ryan Tannehill. Didn't have a great game, just under 200 yards passing, a touchdown. And I know it was against Jacksonville, but we haven't talked about Ryan Tannehill yet this year. And he has the Titans back on track. I think they're 3-2 now, so playing a little bit better. So we'll go Ryan Tannehill, number 2, and number 1. I'm going to stick with Mike Evans. I just, caught 2 touchdowns late from Tom Brady, had over 100 yards, is really playing at a high level on a Super Bowl championship team. And I think he's headed towards the Hall of Fame. I don't know how much more he has to do to get there, but he's playing at a Hall of Fame level and has this entire career.
I love that, and we'll be there in Canton whenever that day comes. Thank you so much, Charean. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Charean Williams here on the BCSI hotline right now. I want to have caller number 1. We're going to give you a free car wash from Aggieland Express Car Wash in South College Station off of William D. Fitch and Greens Prairie. They are Aggie-owned and operated with the friendliest staff and personal touch. They offer a monthly membership. We're going to give that first caller a free car wash right now from Aggieland Express in South College Station, 979-693-1150. The vacuums, be careful. If you have a pet in the car while you're vacuuming, it'll get sucked up. Those vacuums are amazing. Go check it out. It is Aggieland Express.
Thank you for joining us. Dave South here, ready to introduce you to the home team as they prepare to take the field. That's right. Your home team is the Lester Group, your team for buying and selling real estate in Bryan College Station, led by veteran real estate broker and third-generation local Lance Lester. His team is undefeated when it comes to customer service. As he steps up, he surveys the market, a little shifting on the defense, but Lance always seems to find a matchup that he likes. Quick snap of the offer. Lance drops back, checks his options. He looks downfield. He's got a contract wide open. He throws. It's tipped by inspections, again by the appraisal. Great block by the mortgage lender, and it's caught, and he's in the closing zone. He could go all the way. He's at the 20, the 10, the 5, and he's taking it to the house. Literally taking it to the house for signatures. This deal is closed. The Lester Group is lightning in a bottle.
Hello, St. Joseph Eagles fans. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football throughout the season on KEDC 88.5 FM. St. Joseph Eagles football is brought to you this season by these local businesses: Fast Signs, Strata Auto Repair, Kelly Burt Dozer, Reedfield Meats and Deli, Burnside Services Inc., and Prosperity Bank. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football on KEDC 88.5 FM. Special thanks to all of our St. Joseph Eagles sponsors.
This is Aaron Dawson.
And I'm Olivia Dawson.
Won't you join the Folds of Honor and Allen Academy by supporting the annual Cadet Golf Classic and Patriot Dinner hosted at Miramont Country Club, Sunday, October 17th through Tuesday, October 19th.
The Cadet Golf Classic is an 18th-hole, 4-man scramble designed to raise scholarship funds for the families of fallen and disabled veterans through Folds of Honor, as well as financially supporting Allen Academy, an independent school in Bryan.
For more info or to register, please visit thecadet.org, and thank you for your support.
If you missed the Louis Bellina show, you missed.
You kind of get in a routine, just like when you wake up, you brush your teeth or whatever you do first. Like, we're all creatures of habit and routine. at some point, like, you do things a certain way. So when we travel, we like to create that. But I also am one, you have to be able to adapt and adjust. So if, like, our flight got messed up on the way to Tennessee, so we ended up flying way longer and whatever happened, so we had to change our practice, push it back, you have to still be able to adapt and adjust to things like that, because in sports, that's what happens. You know what I mean? Especially in volleyball. It's not like, yes, you have your goals of how you want it to look, but 9 times out of 10, it's crazy and sporadic, obviously, when you're watching it. So,
oh, sure. You got your schedule, and your schedule sometimes is really just a suggestion.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it kind of, you have to set routines, but then be ready to adjust out of them.
Listen to Louie from 11 to 2 weekdays on The Zone. Brought to you in part by Rudy's Barbecue.
TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So let me give you a programming update. We have Rick Small coming on the show. He is Seth's dad. He was on the video that went viral. So we're going to have him on the show, talk a little bit about his son, how he got into, college football, and just how that video has kind of affected their lives. They're everywhere. I think they were on Fox News' front page. They were just everywhere. So that's we'll have him at 9:05. We'll also have John Lopez, Sports Radio 610, Aggie Great, like he's a great Aggie broadcaster, not a former athlete, Aggie Great. But we'll have John Lopez on the show, my buddy, 9:35. Tom Hart joining us from the SEC Network, and Ben Dubose, who is the president of the Houston Tigers alumni chapter. We'll get to know Missouri there around 10:35. OB, before we get to the news and social center, I told you the question of the day, what has surprised you most through 6 games? For me, it's how this season is just like, you can't really predict anything, like in all of college football, but here specifically at A&M, the 3 phases of this year. What has been the most surprising thing for you through 6 games?
Well, other than beating Alabama, I would say the Zach Calzada emergence against Alabama.
Yeah.
I thought, we said last week, I thought he'd have his best game because he's been making progress, but I didn't think he was going to, complete his first 10 passes and be 14 or 13 in the first half and then lead them to a victory with 2 clutch drives.
It wasn't long ago where we weren't sure he could complete a pass, much less 10 in a row and the game-tying touchdown and the throw to get them back into the field goal range and the run. There's so many things that he did right in that game.
He went from abhorred to adored in just, 60 minutes of football.
Could you imagine, though? Like, let's say he plays really well down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Charean this, but I'll ask you, what does that mean for him? Is he starting somewhere else next year? Does Haynes, because
I think they'll, have a competition, and I think Jimbo Fisher will pick whoever he thinks is going to be the best quarterback. And whoever it's not will transfer.
Yep.
Because Calzada has shown that he can play at this level, and Jimbo Fisher obviously believes Haynes King would be. He even said yesterday, he said, we're not going to rush Haynes back because he's got a lot of football in his future, and that means he thinks he's going to be an NFL quarterback.
Well, let's also say this. Before the game, that report came out on CBS, and I didn't hear it. I just saw what people posted on social, that Haynes was probably not coming back this year. I know Jimbo clarified those comments a little bit yesterday. But I feel like Jimbo must have known something, that he really believed in Zach to be able to make that comment, because there's one school of thought is just get through this game. Hopefully you win the next 2, get a break, and then Haynes comes back. With the way Zach played, you could take your time with Haynes if he can play like that, right? And secondly, I still think you need to see Haynes this year to know what you have with him.
I think if you get that opportunity, you certainly take it, but I think he's right. I mean, the whole idea of a broken leg in your back in 2 months, I understand breaks there's different severities, and this was a clean break and all those things, but still to be back in 2 months playing college football.
Yeah, the football aspect of it. So I broke my foot, 5th metatarsal, a year ago. and I was out 6 weeks, and I was running again 8 weeks, but not like running. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to jog around the neighborhood. It's another thing to have 300-pound men throw you up in the air and try to break you. And it's obviously you can be healed. I don't know if that means you're healed enough to play college football.
Yeah. So, we'll see. Like you said, guys heal at different rates. And look, be glad what Zach's doing, but there's a reason that Jimbo Fisher chose Haynes King. So I'm rooting for Zach. I hope he plays that well the rest of the year. And you don't need Haynes to come back, but I would suspect that once this season's over, everything's even again.
Yeah.
And you got to go compete and win the job again.
Hey, let me read this text on the A&B text line, then pass it over to Tori here in the last minute of the hour. John Gruden to LSU? No, I don't think that's going to happen. Jeremy, don't think that's going to happen. Tori Esprovoa, News and Social Center.
Yes, I have Dr. Charlie of 76 saying, I have attended a lot of Aggie games at Kyle Field dating back to 1972, and I believe Bama game was the loudest ever from start to finish. The 12th man, including himself, definitely affected the game. Whoop.
Definitely the loudest atmosphere I've ever been in. Well, what about you, OB?
Well, again, I talked about the Oklahoma game in 2002. Yeah. Well, this one had 20,000 more people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it probably was the loudest.
People talk about like humidity. You can feel it as soon as you step outside.
Oh yeah.
I'm not lying about this. I felt the energy as soon as I stepped on Kyle Field. I felt that humidity-like energy. There was a buzz that you could feel in there.
Hope I feel it the rest of the year.
Yeah, I hope so too, my friend. All right, thanks, OB. Appreciate you. All right, Rick Small coming up on the show. Seth's dad next on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family.
Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Park at Tradition's Exceptional Senior Living, First Financial Bank, and Cooper's Barbecue. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Like us on Facebook at Zone 1150. Follow us on Twitter at Zone 1150. Get connected now. Get connected now. With the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is KZNE College Station, Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. The return of the school year has meant a return in the volume of child abuse cases being reported to the Brazos Valley's Child Advocacy Center. Carrie Baker of Scotty's House says the caseload was more than child victims of physical and sexual abuse.
Saw a lot of kids who had witnessed domestic violence. Kids were being injured because they were intervening, trying to protect the parent.
Baker thanked United Way of the Brazos Valley for a grant that funded another counselor that reduced the backlog of child victims requiring assistance from 40 over the summer to 2 last month. The driver of a car that struck another car than a large oak tree Friday night was arrested on a charge of causing injuries to her 3-year-old sister, who was not in a car seat. According to the arrest report, the child was taken to a hospital where she was admitted for treatment of a broken arm and a facial laceration. 19-year-old Uriana Olvera Sanchez is out of jail after posting a $10,000 bond. The Grimes County Sheriff has learned that scams have started related to the Plantersville area boy who went missing for 3 days. Sheriff Don Sal posted on Facebook that he's been assured by the family of Christopher Ramirez that they are not asking for assistance and they have not created a GoFundMe account. A Bryan man on probation for 8 years for his third drunk driving conviction is headed to prison. 58-year-old Alfredo Caballero III was sentenced to 6 years as part of a plea agreement with the Brazos County District Attorney's Office for his fourth DWI conviction. That followed an arrest by Bryan police 4 years ago. The local pandemic death toll reaches 350. The Brazos County Health District reports 5 recent deaths of people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 70s. The number of active coronavirus cases drops by 171. More information is online at brazoshealth.org. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Question: would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country. And Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Polaris Fun Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV. Or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP1000. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC. And you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on The Zone.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. 3 Texas A&M football players have received SEC accolades for their performances in the Aggies' win over top-ranked Alabama Saturday. Quarterback Zach Calzado was named Offensive Player of the Week after throwing for 285 yards and 3 touchdowns. Teammate and offensive lineman Kenyon Green.
He's becoming a leader. I'm loving it, seeing him get more comfortable in his gameplay. And you can see that Saturday, he felt more comfortable moving around the pocket, making great throws.
Now also receiving accolades yesterday was defensive lineman Tyree Johnson, who was named SEC Defensive Player of the Week, and running back Devon Achane, who was pegged Special Teams Player of the Week. Now, in staying on the gridiron, the SEC has fined Texas A&M $100,000 for its students rushing the field. It's the school's second offense. The first came after the 2018 win over LSU. Aggie women's soccer looks to turn a corner this Friday as it pays a visit to Alabama. Now, to get Coach G. Guerreri's take, tune into the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G tonight from 6 to 7 on Gospel 97.3 FM. And 9th-ranked Aggie men's golf came up short to LSU and Florida on day 2 of the SEC Match Play Championship. The guys close things out today against South Carolina at the Shoal Creek Club. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
The best is yet to come in College Station.
Is down, it is up, and the fight Texas Aggies take down the top-ranked Tide 41-38. Number 1 goes down.
Join us Saturday. The Aggies visit the Missouri Tigers. Our coverage begins at 10 a.m. on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network.
Listen to Aggie Football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at RadioAggieland.com. Or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
Welcome back, TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, working on getting Rick Small on the program on the BCSI hotline. We'll get him here momentarily. Seth's father to talk about the great night on Saturday where Seth gets the game-winning field goal, and hopefully we'll be getting him here in a moment. He just texted me that he is ready to roll, and it's working now, so hopefully we'll get him here on the program any moment. But a couple things I did want to get into. We talked about it at the top of the show. The question of the day, what has surprised you most this season? A lot of text messages have come in on that topic, so we'll certainly try that. But what I wanted to say about this entire season, though, is that you can't predict anything. And that's really in college football in general. You just cannot predict the way the season's going to go. You cannot predict anything about it at all. It's been one of those years that, like, you think you have a team figured out and you don't have a team figured out. It is just it's been so incredible to see not only the A&M story, but what you saw from Clemson, what you've seen from Notre Dame, what you've seen really from the University of Texas and Oklahoma, that game. Just the way these games have come down has been really weird. It has just, you cannot predict what's going to happen. And I know I'm kind of rambling here because I'm trying to do two things at once, give my producers the phone number and also at the same time tell you what's happening. We're trying to get Rick Small on the line. It looks like I'm not going to have to give him the phone number here in a moment. But it's just been one of those seasons that you cannot predict the way the season is going to go. And I think for A&M, though, I think they figured it out. They did it against the best team in the country, who dropped some spots because they got to take it to them. They were really, A&M took it to them so well to me that it should be them turning the corner, and the rest of the season, that's going to be more of the style of A&M that we're going to see. But as I've been mentioning, Seth Small had such a great moment there at the end of the game, and just really excited for him and really for the Aggies overall, without a doubt. And Cam Worthy, who works for 12th Man Productions, had some video, and you can see Seth's family there watching along, and we're now joined by Rick Small on the BCSI hotline. Rick, how are you, sir?
Dave, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to run some of the video that Cam Worthy was able to get, but just talk about your emotional evening.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, what a great name for a photographer and videographer, right? Cam Worthy, it's perfect. I think she captured everything that everybody was feeling in that stadium at the time. There's a little blend of everything. My daughters, my wife, my daughter-in-law, everybody was going a little bit crazy, but it was great to watch.
Yeah, and just, are you surprised how viral it has gone? I mean, Fox News had it. It's everywhere.
It's absolutely mind-blowing, but there's elements of it that I think resonate with everybody that was in the stadium, everybody in College Station, everybody across the whole country, right? The tension, everybody wants to beat number one when they're standing up in the top, and that's a huge responsibility that Alabama has been carrying for many, many years. We're happy to have done that. But I think the virality of the video is a little overstated, because I know, for one, I've probably watched that video 30 or 40 times myself.
Did you know you were being filmed at the time?
I had no idea. I think one of my daughters spotted Cam down there, but I had no idea that she was filming us. We were so caught up in the moment. And, you know, it's difficult when those kicks happen, because most places in the stadium you can't tell if the kick is going good or not. So what I've done over the years, I trained myself to focus just on Seth and watch his body language and see what he does. And so I was completely focused in on him, and I saw him kick the ball. I saw a little bit of body English kick in when the ball was doing whatever it was doing. And then he does his thank you. And I knew it was good at that point, and all heck broke loose, and everybody started running all over the place. So I think it was a good call, because I didn't see the refs put their arms out.
Hey, so, and by the way, my good friend Jesus Ortiz did a profile on your family. Texas A&M's kicker Seth Small embraces Mexican roots. You can find that on resquina.com. Learned a lot about your family. So take me through what a father's thinking, not only in that big Alabama moment, obviously the biggest moment of Seth's career, but like the kicker, like people hate him, people love him. Like it just kind of depends on the situation. And as a father, I know, like taking a PK, a field goal, so much pressure there. Just what are you going through in those moments?
Yeah, well, we've learned to adapt to it a little bit. Yeah, life of a kicker is different, right? Kickers and specialists in general have to be wired a little bit differently. I don't know that I could do what Seth does out there. The amount of pressure that comes out at them is unbelievable, and people either love you or they hate you. Thankfully, he hasn't missed very much, and he doesn't miss very often, and that I hope that people remember Saturday night's kick against Alabama, if he ever does miss again anytime soon, but hopefully he won't. But I tell Seth the same thing. I don't care if the kick is good or not. I'm just so proud of him and happy that he's put himself in a situation. He's put himself through the grind and the work that it takes to be out there on the field, and he wants to be on the field taking that last kick. About almost at the end of the third quarter, which from a football perspective, from a football player's perspective, was a great quarter, right? It was back and forth, and about end of the third quarter, early fourth quarter, I started telling him, you know what's coming, right? We happened to be sitting really close to him, and I said, you know what's coming, right? And he looked at me a couple of times. He said, yeah. And then later in the fourth quarter, I said, you know it's coming, right? And it just had a little bit of a feeling, and thankfully the good guys ended up on top, right?
Oh my goodness, I can just imagine I saw your seats. Obviously, you're very close. The fact that you can talk to your son during the game, the biggest game of his career, the biggest game we've seen here in a long, long time. What a great feeling as a father. I want you to take me back to Seth's childhood, how he got into sports, athletics, how he got into football. I think I read he played at Albion Soccer Club. Am I right about that?
Yep, he started playing soccer when we moved to Denver for a long time. He was playing in the soccer club up there. And Jesus, that story that he wrote in Arisquina is a fantastic story. I loved it. Which, by the way, to bring it full circle, he wrote a great piece on Zach and Tico Calzada on their Cuban-American roots. And to bring it back to full circle, it kind of resonates probably with you.
Absolutely.
And your family roots. By the way, small world, your brother Alex and I worked together in a past life.
Wow.
At a bank. So my buddy Dustin Hollis reminded me of that yesterday. And but those roots kind of playing, you never know how life is going to end up. We thought Seth was going to play soccer forever. And a little bit of the wiring that he has, I can trace back to a story I told Jesus in that article. But when Seth was about 12, 13 years old, he gets called up to a great team, and they put him in to kick a penalty at the end of the game. And he hits the crossbar and misses it. And we lost the game. And during the drive, he was inconsolable. He couldn't get over it. He was crying. We went home. I couldn't make him happy. And we go home, and that afternoon we're watching a soccer game, and Ronaldinho is playing, hits a penalty shot, hits the crossbar and misses it. And I told Seth, you see, even the best guys, even the best in the sport, miss once in a while. And I think at that moment it clicked with him, and he realized there's always going to be another kick. There's always going to be something afterwards. And, whether he had made it or missed it last weekend against Bama, we'd still be here getting ready to play against Missouri next week and trying to figure out, what do we need to do to get there? And thankfully, like I said, we ended up on the right side of the scoreboard.
Another thing I read about you guys, huge El Tri fan and Chicharito. Am I right about that? About Chicharito's Seth's favorite player going up?
Yeah, Seth is probably going to hate this when I mention it, but when he was a little baby, we used to call him Peanut, and the nickname stuck for a long time. And as you know, Chicharito means pea, green pea in Spanish. So at some point when we started playing soccer, we started calling him Chicharito, and he follows all the Mexican. We used to go to soccer games. And I have to tell you, the atmosphere at Kyle Field Saturday night, and there's been a number of games where it's unbelievable atmosphere regardless, but I'd compare it to World Cup games at Azteca Stadium down in Mexico City, that you get that number of people in the stadium screaming and yelling and kind of trying to beat the other team down and push your team forward. That's the type of atmosphere that was at Kyle Field Saturday night. It was electric. It was unbelievable.
How did he make the transition from soccer to football?
Well, when he was playing, we moved back to Houston, and we were out here in the Katy area. And his one of the middle school football coaches saw him playing soccer, and he said, "You got to come over and kick with me." And so he started kicking and just had a knack for it. It's like anything else in life. You got to practice. You got to be consistent. You got to be persistent. He signed up with Cole's Kicking, and Cole's Kicking did a fantastic job helping him, training him. He went to some of their camps and had a little bit of a natural knack for it, and made some regionals, made some nationals, got ranked by them. Jamie Cole, who runs that organization, does a fantastic job, and ESPN.com uses his ratings for their national kicker ratings. And it turned out okay when A&M saw him during one of the game. They were down visiting in the Katy area watching Katie Taylor play Max Wright. And Coach Sumlin came down with Banks. They landed in the chopper in the parking lot, and they were there watching Taylor, watching Max, who's had a fantastic career at A&M too, right? And they go to the stadium, and Seth happened to kick a lot of kickoffs and extra points and punts. He was a very good punter in high school also. And the offer came in after that, and A&M just checked every single box of what Seth was looking for in being able to kick in college.
All right, so let me know what, if you can, what he's thinking about the future. Is he thinking about the business world? Is he hoping maybe to continue his career there, maybe in the NFL? What? Give me a little insight.
Well, try not to get too far ahead of ourselves. One of the reasons that he and Rachel decided to get married this summer instead of next summer was because he was thinking he might want to try to go pro, and that whole prospect of the combine and the draft. And if you get picked up, you're gone with the team. If you don't get picked up, then you're a free agent. You have to try out everywhere tomorrow at 8:00 in the morning. You don't know where it's going to be. It'd be sweet, I think for us as Aggies, for me as a dad, to watch him play on Sundays. But again, we try not to get too far ahead of ourselves. There's no guarantee that tomorrow or next week or next month is going to come around. So just trying to enjoy the moment and today and being here with you, and we'll see what comes, right?
Hey, Rick, it's been a great conversation. By the way, I got to tell you, I Googled you, all right, because I wanted to know, and obviously I found Jesus's article. So when you told me you knew my brother, I was not surprised because I saw what you did for a living. I was like, I bet you guys know each other a little bit. So there you go. What a small world, my friend. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. Blessings your way, and congratulations on what was a great weekend. And really, it's been so much fun to watch Seth grow here at A&M the last few years.
Thanks so much, Dave.
Giga, my friend. Thank you very much. Rick Small here on the BCSI hotline. Great stuff there. Really appreciate the conversation, and we're looking forward to seeing, hopefully there's blowouts where he's kicking extra points and a couple field goals here and there. Those games are nerve-wracking. I don't know if I have any nails left after that one, but that was fun. All right, I want to remind you guys to text radio to 833-638-6248. That is 833-638-6248 for your chance to win the Big Friday giveaway, courtesy of our friends at Aggieland Outfitters. We're going to unveil that winner during the 10 o'clock hour of Friday's show. And this week, it is the Texas A&M Champion Core hoodie valued at $49.99. I'm so awkward when I pull these things out. But I'm going to show it to you because it is thick, it is comfy, it is beautiful, and I think you need it. I think I need it. I think I need to buy one. Thanks, Aggieland Outfitters. Look at this bad boy right here. This has got the A&M white champion hoodie. It's got the Aggies and beveled A&M logo written on the maroon across the front. There's the A&M written down the sleeve as well. Let's see if I can find it. There it is right there for those of you watching on TexAgs.com. And it's also got a front pocket as well. It's very comfortable. It's going to start getting cold. I saw the weather guy here in town say it's going to get hot, and then it's going to get significantly colder real quick. So you may want to jump over there to Aggieland Outfitters ASAP and get this one. Wear it on game days, wear it around town. It is a beautiful one. Check it out at Aggieland Outfitters.
Your home for the Houston Texans is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is The Zone.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
If you have considered replacing the windows in your brick veneer home, you may have been told that it would be necessary to either remove the brick or tear up the inside of your window box. You need to know that Intercon replaces windows and brick every day, and we don't tear up anything except the window which is being removed. By installing windows every day, Intercon personnel have worked out methods which result in the replacement windows being at least as neat and effectively installed as your windows were when they were new. This means that Intercon can furnish and install replacement windows which exceed today's tighter standards for efficiency. They look and perform just as well as the best windows in brand new homes. Call Intercon or visit our showroom and we will furnish you customer references for homes you can look at and homeowners you probably know who can tell you that Intercon can solve your window problems without wrecking your home or your budget, just as we did theirs. Intercon will furnish a free quote and we won't pressure you to buy.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
From Bryan Broadcasting, Destination Bryan, and ABC Home and Commercial Services, you're invited to Halloween Town in downtown. A free, safe, come-and-go trick-or-treating experience for the whole family. Join us in downtown Bryan on Friday, October 29th from 4 p.m. until candy runs out. There will be a kid zone, photo booth, costume contest, and lots of candy stations for trick-or-treating. Special thanks to our treat sponsors, La Macaron French Pastries, St. Joseph Health, and Gentry Gandy's Dance Factory. Don't miss this free outdoor Halloween celebration for all ages. Brought to you by Bryan Broadcasting, Destination Bryan, and ABC Home and Commercial Services, specialists for your environment. For award-winning AC and heating service for your home, visit abchomeandcommercial.com. Make your plans now for Halloween Town in downtown, Friday, October 29th, starting at 4 p.m.
The small Texas town of Llano is where it all began. The Wooten family created Cooper's old-time pit barbecues, mouth-watering recipes, and cowboy-style cooked barbecue. Decades later, you can still get the same great recipes, cooked exactly the same way by the same family, right here in College Station. Dine in, curbside pickup, or catered. Experience the taste of locally Aggie-owned, nationally recognized Cooper's old-time pit barbecue. Voted best barbecue in the Brazos Valley and proud supporter of Texas A&M athletics.
You can hear Astros baseball all season and postseason long on Sports Radio 1150 and 93.7 FM plus Gospel 97.3 FM thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. The Astros look to make another World Series run. You can hear the games on The Zone or on Gospel 97.3 FM thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. The Houston Astros, the World Series. Listen in, all thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer.
Hey guys. Hello friends. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Really enjoyed the Rick Small interview. That was great. Thank you so much for joining us here. That was fun there on the BCSI hotline. I see your text messages there on the AMB text line, but right now I want to bring in my apprentice. I feel like Darth Vader. Tomas Romo, who, couple things. A, I'm supposed to give you props today, and I'm going to. And B, I understand that not only were you at the game, you're one of the criminals that ran on the field to celebrate. I'm kidding about being a criminal.
I'm part of the $100,000 fine that we got, but I was.
You better bring your dollar.
I know, and so I guess my question for you is, how was that game for you guys? You know, being a part of the media, and then obviously I'm assuming you guys were on the field as well at the end, seeing the kick.
Yeah. So, did you see? There's a young lady, Efren Davis, I believe her name is, the weathercaster, who's an Aggie. She was doing her broadcast. We're gonna have her on the show tomorrow, by the way. But I have gone through what she's gone through working during an A&M game. I remember the A&M Alabama game from 2012. I was anchoring at ABC 13, and my hit was happening as that game was ending, and I didn't write anything. Like, my scripts were a joke, but I was so excited when I went on the air. So, you know, that was at the studio at ABC 13. Being at Kyle Field during that game, the whole time Obi and I are looking at each other like, this might really freaking happen.
Yeah.
And then I kept on telling Obi, hey, it's early. Let's not get too excited. And he's like, yeah, it's early. And then it'd be the second quarter. This might freaking happen. Obi, we got to slow down. We got to slow down. When I stepped on the field, I don't know. I don't want to say I knew, because, I mean, all of us at that moment felt the
Right.
gravity of the moment. But, like, I was like, this is going to go the way I think it is, until Calzada gets hurt. And then I'm like, man, that dude just threw a beautiful touchdown and isn't going to be able to finish this game, is what I'm thinking. And it's going to be up to a walk-on to figure it out. But my goodness, when they won, and the reporter in me said, I got to capture this moment as a reporter. I got that video. I tried to do two things. You know, when you shoot video with your phone, you're kind of looking at the phone and not the whole moment. I tried to look above the phone to capture it, because I was a part of history, something that I'm going to, you know, my kids are going to know about for the rest of their lives, that we're all going to, you know, just remember that great moment. Like, I still talk about the AC Law shot, which to you probably doesn't mean that much because you were, what, 2?
Yeah, 2 years old.
Right?
3 years old.
Right. To me, it's one of the biggest moments I've ever had in my career, that I still get goosebumps thinking of that. This is that even bigger because it's big, bad Alabama.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest thing for me was when, like you said, sitting there, hey, relax, let's not get too excited. And then I guess my turning point, like, oh, we're going to win this thing or we're going to make something happen, was when A-Chain took it back.
Right.
After the block punt, that's where I felt like Kyle Field went like silent for a second. I even felt that in the student center. And boom, they took it back. And I was like, everyone went nuts. People were throwing water bottles everywhere. I got drenched in water. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that would upset me. So, my friend, I gave you a hard time last week. You told me Davis Mills was going to have a big. You told our audience something about Davis Mills. I forget. I was like, "Are you sure about that?" I like the kid, but he has struggled. And he was like, "No, I forgot how you phrased it."
I think what I said was this, because the Patriots are coming off their Super Bowl. I felt like against the Bucs. They kept it real close, and I saw them coming out. I didn't think they're going to come out hot. And Davis Mills, man, I even texted you this yesterday. I really thought the Texans were finally going to pull something out, and he was going to get his first career win.
Yeah, well, they almost did. They should have won, and he had a huge game. So I guess what I'm saying is young Tomas really knows what he's talking about, and when it comes to fantasy sports, you've got some good intel, my friend. So props to you. I didn't want to give you props on the air. It goes against everything in me because you made me look terrible because I thought Davis Mills was going to get destroyed by the Patriots, and you, my friend, were correct. They didn't get the victory, but his numbers were excellent, so congratulations.
Well, David, I appreciate that. So let's just get right into this week. Talking about the Texans, we're going to go against them this week. Michael Pittman Jr. started him against the Texans. The Colts, I don't know how they lost that game last night against Lamar Jackson. He had an MVP game. Props to Lamar and the Ravens. Right. I think he's the real deal. But Michael Pittman Jr., he's averaging 16.6 points over his last 4 games. He's really established himself as the wide receiver 1 in Indy. Texans and the Colts are both 1-4. Both teams desperately need a win. And the only 2 playmakers the Colts have are Pittman and Jonathan Taylor. I think Carson Wentz is maybe starting to put it together. He had a pretty good game last night. I think Pittman catches a touchdown against a weak secondary. Colts get a much-needed win. Book it.
Book it. I love when you say book it. It's become your little catchphrase. You got to get a TexAgs shirt that says book it.
Book it. Maybe get like a digital copy, a little cartoon face of myself saying it. That'd be kind of cool.
That's going a little too far. I just want the link. just the text.
Leonard Fournette against the Eagles. The Eagles defense is one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL. Chuba Hubbard had a huge game against them last week. He broke off for 18.4 fantasy points. They've allowed a lot of running backs to RB1 this season. And Tom Brady threw for 5 touchdowns yesterday against the Miami Dolphins. No one thinks Tom Brady's really going to throw for 5 touchdowns anymore. They're not going to do it again. I think they're going to establish the run. We saw Charean Williams talk about Mike Evans. He had a great day.
Yep.
I think this will be a really ground-heavy attack for the Bucs. Just put it on the Eagles on Thursday Night Football. Fournette's coming off a 21-point game himself, and he looks like he's getting back on track as being that dominant runner we saw in college first couple of years. But I think he gets at least 1 touchdown, rushes for 100 yards. Bucs get the win, but the Eagles keep it close. Book it.
Book it. What else? I'm sorry. I got so loud there. I got so into it. Let's go.
Terry McLaurin against the Chiefs. It's football team versus Kansas City. Who knows with the Chiefs anymore? I mean, I don't know if they're the real deal. Mahomes doesn't look that good. They lost to the Bills. There's people riding them off. I don't think they should ride them off just yet. I think they'll get it together. It's still the Chiefs, but this defense is horrible. This is probably one of the worst in the league without a doubt. They have a must-win game against Washington on Sunday, and I think they're just going to try and light it up. I mean, I know the weather was a factor Sunday night. They weren't really able to throw the ball, but I think for the football team, the only way that they're going to stay in this game is throwing the football. I don't think the Chiefs are going to run the ball. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got hurt on Sunday. He's questionable for this week. And this is just one of those really crazy stats that I found today. So this defense is so bad that the most prolific offense in NFL history is the 2000 Rams, who averaged 7 yards per play.
Right.
The Chiefs' defense is giving up 7.1 yards per play to every single team. That's what they're averaging. So your average Joe team is pretty much putting up prolific offensive numbers against this defense. That's how bad they are.
It kind of reminds me of Missouri.
Yeah, the Aggies really need to get that rolling this weekend, and I think they will, man. Oh my gosh, I'm excited about this team, man. They never gave up and they kept it going.
Yeah, they did. You got any more? Because we got to hit a break here.
No, that's all it. Good. But like I said, McLaurin, he's poised for a big day. I think the game turns into a shootout. They'll have to play catch up a little bit, but the Chiefs get the win that they need. But watch out for Scary Terry in this Washington offense. Book it.
Book it. You got to say it the way you used to say it. Like you used to get excited.
You get a little,
But I guess you've done it now. Like you're kind of like, I'm kind of a big deal. I don't need to like sell it. Like it's just book it, baby. Good job, Tomas. Thank you very much. All right, want to talk about Chance McClain? Been talking about him for a long time. I don't know if you haven't done it yet. You're probably thinking to yourself, yeah, I need to call Chance. You better start calling Chance soon because he's getting full here with Christmas coming up. Let's not forget it takes about 8 to 10 weeks to get this done. And if you want to have a great Christmas gift for your father or maybe for your family, you call Chance McClain because he makes documentary films about your life, your family's life, and they are first-class, state-of-the-art, Hollywood-esque type documentaries. I'm talking about the music, the lighting, the interview process. He is a slave to the process. He wants to get it right. He is the most creative guy I know. Started a radio station, has done movies, has done musicals, Broadway musicals, baby. He does it all. No reason to use the word baby there, but I did. But he's awesome at what he does, and he advertises with us because he knows that Aggies care about their history. They care about their story. Call him up at 713-893-8341. The number is 713-893-8341. The website is yourheritagefilm.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. A free presentation offered to seniors on Medicare open enrollment is this Wednesday. Contact the Mature Will Lifestyle Club for more information. Texas A&M's chapter of Young Americans for Freedom are hosting Senator Ted Cruz at Rudder Theater on Thursday at 7 p.m. The Navasota Theater Alliance invites you to join the interactive experience Lanterns and Legends. Take a nighttime guided tour October 21st, 22nd, or 23rd at Navasota's historic Oakland Cemetery. You're invited to a community Thanksgiving meal in celebration of Brian's 150th anniversary. The buffet meal and musical entertainment on Saturday, November 13th are free, but you must RSVP by going online to 150.briantx.gov. Your home for Houston Texans football is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. You can hear every game, home, road, all season long, right here on Aggieland's only all-sports station. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Trick or treat! From Bryan Broadcasting, Destination Bryan, and ABC Home and Commercial Services, you're invited to Halloween Town in downtown. A free, safe, come-and-go trick-or-treating experience for the whole family. Join us in downtown Bryan on Friday, October 29th from 4 p.m. until candy runs out. There will be a kid zone, photo booth, costume contest, and lots of candy stations for trick-or-treating. Special thanks to our treat sponsors, La Macaron French Pastries, St. Joseph Health, and Gentry Gandy's Dance Factory. Don't miss this free outdoor Halloween celebration for all ages. Brought to you by Bryan Broadcasting, Destination Bryan, and ABC Home and Commercial Services, specialists for your environment. For award-winning AC and heating service for your home, visit abchomeandcommercial.com. Make your plans now for Halloween Town in downtown, Friday, October 29th, starting at 4 p.m.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
On Sports Talk, Chip visited with Robert Earl Keen about his place as a Texas music icon.
There's a lot of great people in Texas music, so I wouldn't want to just stand up there and say, look at me. I'm just saying that for me, it's a serious source of pride.
Sports Talk, legendary guests weekdays from 4 to 6 on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Welcome back, TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Garner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, working on getting John Lopez on the program to chit-chat all things Texas A&M
And we'll do that right now with the BCSI hotline. We're joined by Sports Radio 610's John Lopez, who's on a remote for the big show. What's up, John? We got no audio. There you are. You're back.
Yeah, Kirby Icehouse and Astros starting at 1 o'clock, so you know we're going to have a good time.
Hey, I definitely want to get to Aggies, but that whole thing with the White Sox talking mess and all that, I bet you, this is just like, I understand that the Astros have opened the door for that, but I thought Dusty's response yesterday was just fantastic. Like, be careful what you say because people can start talking about you too.
Well, they poke the bear, and the Astros thrive when, people are contradicting them, telling them things that, make them mad. We can go back to Carlos Correa when this thing first happened and it broke, and he was the first one really, really outspoken about it, kind of endeared himself with fans. I wouldn't recommend it, and I thought Dusty, as you said, was just fantastic with it.
John Lopez with us here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what you saw on Saturday night. Describe your setup, where you're watching it, how you're watching it, and your emotional roller coaster throughout.
Well, you're talking to a guy who had tickets to the game, but ended up letting his sons go to the game. Actually, it worked out great. They had just an incredible time, like all the other 106,000 plus people. I was down at my little chateau, which is really a trailer on the bay where I go fishing and stuff, and was watching the game. And where do you start with that thing? My big takeaway, so to speak, and we've talked about it on the radio show, the pixie dust that Jimbo Fisher can sprinkle on a quarterback, even mid-season, is just incredible. The difference between Zach Calzada in Arkansas and Zach Calzada in Alabama was just incredible. And I know I'm not exactly breaking news there, but what it does tell you is it tells you that the talent and the skill level for Calzada is capable of playing at that level, and that gives you more depth. We know that Haynes King's not going to be around this year, it doesn't appear, and you got other guys coming in. So Jimbo Fisher, worth every penny. They took a lot of heat for the extension. He's worth every penny just for that reason alone.
Yeah, he certainly is. And I was going to ask you about that. How can a team look, and I'm going even beyond Zach, can look one way one week, and then next week against the top team in the country, just offensive line looks like they're gelling, the defense looks like they're aggressive and blitzing, and I know a lot of it has to do with the game that they called, but really the vibe I got from the Aggies, it was just different overall throughout the entire lineup.
I think that goes back to Elko, it goes back to Jimbo. The one thing the Aggies did that I thought from the very first drive, even though they were up 3-0, then they were down 7-3, I was texting with my friends and my sons at the game. The Aggies were not playing scared. They were not playing scared. Everybody plays scared just about against Alabama, and they were attacking. There's an old saying in basketball that I know you're aware of. You press a pressing team. You trap a trapping team. They blitzed a blitzing team. And I thought that was absolutely key, and I thought it was relevant. So, yeah, just the approach more than anything. But also keep this in mind as well. That offensive line, while we've seen those faces, we hadn't seen those faces in those positions. So they may have found the right mix here.
John, I was going to ask you how Calzada is going to be remembered and how his story is not going to change, even if you get a healthy Haynes King. If this is the Calzada we're going to get moving forward, what does that mean for this quarterback room here in the future?
Well, as I mentioned, the depth is incredible. You can feel that, and again, everybody compares themselves to Alabama, rightfully so. Keep in mind, Alabama had Mac Jones and Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa all at once. I could see that happening at A&M. Keep in mind, they have that five-star coming in as well, Connor Wigman, or however he pronounces it. I'm not good at it yet, but I'll learn it. And obviously these two guys, that's what you do. And I think the other part that's important for coaches is they do too many favors. And we're quite familiar with that, with Kevin Sumlin and Kyler Murray and how he played the quarterback position there, doing favors for people. Ain't no favors at big-time football, man. You have to earn it. You have to understand that if you're going to play at this level, you're going to play with guys just as good as you or better. So you're going to have to be able to win that competition and wait your turn.
John Lopez on the BCSI hotline. Let's talk about this offensive line. They're growing, and what I still think they need to run the ball better. They ran the ball effectively at times against Alabama, and better than most teams have done against them. But they're certainly growing, and they kept Zach clean the entire game.
That was huge. And keep in mind, I wasn't just talking about the defense when I said they attacked attacking team. They pressed the pressing team, to use that basketball reference again. They were pounding these guys into submission. Look, it sounds as if it was a one-sided game. It obviously wasn't. But what I'm saying, Alabama wasn't ready for that. I love the two freshmen to be able to do that. I don't think it's comprehensible for most of us to be 18 years old and to go into that game and do that. And then the way they mixed the tackles in, I thought was huge. There's one other part about the offensive line that is, I think, very, very key. They finally played a conventional defense, and that's so weird. 5 games into the year, whatever it is, 6 games into the year, they finally could just muscle on muscle a team. They faced a lot of different things, but I think this is their strength.
So yesterday I was listening to the Paul Feinbaum show. They had Pete Thamel on there, and he kind of flirted the idea out there that maybe LSU is going to go after Jimbo because of the situation that they have there, and Jimbo makes sense because of Woodward and all the stuff we heard before the extension. Look, I don't know what Jimbo's thinking, but from what I see and what he's building, that guy looks like he wants to be here the rest of his career.
He's an Aggie. I mean, it didn't take him long to become an Aggie. Money can always change things, but it comes down to a situation when money's not a problem, and money is not a problem for Jimbo. How in the world is LSU a better situation than Texas A&M? Just in terms of geography, in terms of fan base. I remember last time I was on with you, I talked about how they have money troubles at LSU, both in the athletic department and the athletic academic department side of things. It's just not. Look, none of our LSU friends are going to want to hear this. But if you step away and you look at the two situations that they're in, I think A&M is by far better, and the other part of it is proximity to the hottest recruiting beds in the world. For football, for college football, Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. It just doesn't get any better than A&M.
J-Lo, let's talk about the rest of the way the season plays out. Obviously, they got a very winnable game here with Missouri. If they get past them, they get South Carolina at home. The schedule right now eases up a little bit. How do you see the season turning out now that looks like we figured out the line and quarterback?
I think what they really need to do is finally win a game in the first half. Even New Mexico, you were kind of like, all right, but we need to see more of this first group because they're not exactly, annihilating this team. I think they need to win. They need to be up 3 or 4 touchdowns. And I know that's a big ask in the SEC, no matter who you're playing, in the first half. And the reason is some of these guys that are maybe a little injured, some of these guys that are on the depth chart, they have to play significant time. I think that's the first thing that I want to see. The second thing I want to see is not, being able to win a game you're supposed to, how you're supposed to. The third thing I want to see is some of these offensive linemen, especially the starters, to be able to kind of, like as I said, just kind of muscle up and get that swag. Keep in mind, the Maroon Goons last year, they went into any game knowing we're not going to get beat. You got to get that.
Hey, J-Lo, let me ask you about the Texans. You're the flagship station, obviously.
Yeah, you have to?
I have to. So I was going to ask you, when I was there at ABC 13, that the last couple of years, there was a lot of apathy towards that organization. I'm curious how things are now, the fact that they have started slow, but they've shown some signs of a team that's at least got some fight in them. People like Cully. What is the vibe around the organization with the fans right now?
I think you hit it on the head. However, how long we're starting to see signs that might not play. When you go 1-4 and then maybe 1-5 against Indianapolis, and then they've got a really tough stretch of the schedule coming up. It's good to be positive. It's good to fall on the sword when you make mistakes like David Culley has. But how long is that going to play? You talk about apathy. That was a New England Patriots crowd for the most part on Sunday afternoon, and people always vote with their wallets, and that's how they show exactly how they're really feeling about a team. Another old adage, not to bring up another one, but the opposite of hate is not love. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy, and I think that's what we're starting to see.
Last thing for you. Who gets fired first, Ed O or Urban Meyer?
I would have to bet on Urban Meyer. I mean, that is an absolute mess. Keep in mind the other part beyond, what he did in Ohio. I thought the worst part of that, the most egregious thing, was not traveling back with your team. I mean, flat out. The other things you can almost, okay, whatever. It's not great. He's gonna have to get in trouble for that. But not flying back with your team. And then beyond that, he was doing dumb things, well before all this, with the athletic trainer that he brought in, with Tim Tebow. And then yesterday talking about he wants to rush for 250 yards a game in the NFL. This isn't Ohio State, man. That doesn't happen. I think it's going to be Urban Meyer.
Wow. Well, both of those guys, I don't think they're going to be at their places very long. J-Lo, we appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
You the man.
You too, man. John Lopez here on the BCSI hotline. We appreciate him joining the show. Good stuff as always. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to get to your text messages and your phone calls in the next segment. We got an open segment to go. 979-693-1150 is the phone number if you want to get in on what has been the most surprising thing so far this year through 6 games for Texas A&M. And really, if you want to just get into the college football conversation, we'll get into that as well. You can text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
We got the Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays from 2 to 4 here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, The Zone.
AggielandBigDeals.com. Shop local, buy local, save big. I'm struggling, can't pay full price. How about Aggieland Big Deals? Yeah, that's right. I'll be shopping local and saving big with discounts up to 30% on food, clothes, and car repair, or even entertainment and personal care. Is it really gonna be convenient though? Just download the app right on your phone. Oh man, that's slick. Now I'm all in. Those digital certificates are fun to spend. Plus I can print and send gifts along at AggielandBigDeals.com.
What can give you a competitive edge?